The Transport Department has confirmed that South Africa's only driving license card printer has broken down again. It's been out of service since January, with very few cards issued this year. Officials say the machine stopped working more than 3 months ago, causing a major backlog across the country. The department says it's exploring interim solutions to keep operations going while the old machine is being repaired. Departmental spokesperson Colin Msibi joins us now for a discussion on this. Another year, another month, now the machine has been broken. Okay. It's been going on for years. I was saying to you off air a short while ago. Is there a way around this machine, single machine for this?
It's a frustration for us, can tell you that. We've had this machine since 1998. It's an old horse which has printed over 60 million licenses. So surely issues of wear and tear are coming into play now.
And should have been foreseen.
Of course, they should have been foreseen, and hence we've undertaken a process to tender and to get a service provider who can be able to provide a new machine. But that process...
Not new machines.
Well, new machines. There has to be some kind of a backup system.
I remember this was part of the argument the last time, that why don't you have a second machine at least where that will take over when the one machine is broken?
Certainly. You must remember there has to be issues of security around how we print driver's license cards. It is a key point where this is done. So once you have the machine spread all over the country, you are running a very good risk of being infiltrated by criminals and so forth, and having to have duplicate licenses and all that. So you would still have a centralized system in place.
Or even two machines in one place.
Well, there will be a backup in terms of how, that's why we've got the tender. We've had a tender out, and the preferred provider was appointed. But unfortunately, there's been issues which have been raised by the Auditor General, and hence we are heading to court. So we're saying, while we are in court, let's have an interim solution. That is where this interim solution you're talking about comes in. And the interim solution is outside of the fixing of the current old machine. So currently, our machine is broken, and we've said that we're the first to admit that. So we've been undertaking a process with the supplier from France to fix the parts that have been broken. So we hoping in the next 2 to 3 weeks, the machine will be up and running, so people can be able to then access their cards. But I'm here to then advise motorists to say, while we undertake that process to fix and to have an interim solution and all that, this is what we expect from motorists. One, those who had applied for the renewal of their licenses before the expiry of their current card, all they have to do is to carry them with themselves in their possession the receipt to prove that there's an application for the new card. Secondly, you must carry your expired license card with you, so that when you are stopped by law enforcement officers, you don't run into problems of penalties. That is one. Two, if you did not apply before the expiry and you basically did your application after, we are saying, begging you, apply for a temporal license. But when you are driving your vehicle, please have in your possession your temporal license, but also the proof that you've applied for a new driver's card, as well as the expired license card. So those are the two options that we have. Even those that who had applied before it expires, it is advisable that they should apply for a temporal license. But if they don't have, it won't be an issue. But the moment it has expired, then you run into the center to apply. Then you should have a temporal license. So basically that's our advice so that we are able to deal with this. We hope that this interim solution we're talking about, the minister should be able to make a pronouncement sooner than later.
Failing which, if you don't fall into those two categories, in other words,
well,
you face the full might of the law.
It's basically penalties, indeed. Indeed. So what you are saying is that even if your license is expired, you should head to the center to go and apply for your card. And then you can have that receipt with you and your expired license with you.
Does the minister's pronouncement have anything to do with the budget?
Absolutely not. No.
So a solution is coming.
It is coming.
Pretty soon.
Yes.
Is the court case the only thing it's waiting for?
Well, the court, let's distinguish the two. The court case will run its course while the interim solution is announced, because the interim solution is basically a stopgap measure while we deal with the court issues and so forth. If the court says, go ahead, your appointment of the preferred bidder is above board, well and good, that's what we will do. But if the court says, nope, this is irregular, then we've got to abide by the court decision. So the interim solution is just another process. It has obviously nothing to do with what happens in court. But if the court says this goes ahead, it's above board, obviously then we continue. They have to go ahead and acquire the machine. We don't know how long it would take, that process, to acquire the machine. So the interim solution still applies. So it's a medium to long-term solution until such time that this is in place.
You're not giving any timelines?
I think the minister will be able to do so when she pronounces on the interim solution. But as I say, this is quite an urgent matter for us. And I think it should be quite very, very soon, the pronouncement on the solution.
You know what often happens in our country? It's been the story of our lives. Those who may lose in court then go on and interdict other processes that they feel will then, they will know, in terms of which they will no longer be able to put another case or entertain another opportunity to still win the case by a hook or by a crook.
Me and you, we did journalism, Vuyo. So the issues of legality, let's leave them to the legal eagles. But I would say this, the interim solution, let it be the interim solution. I think whatever happens in court, if there's appeal and so forth, I think let's refine this one so that if there's an appeal and it takes long, at least we have something in place. And that is why we're saying we can no longer argue the issue that, no, we're going to France to get a card or to get this part fixed and so forth. That is happening currently, and we are saying in the next 3 weeks it should be fixed. But the interim solution, it should be localized, and I think that's what we're looking at. But the minister will make a pronouncement on that.
Well, you and I also know what has been happening in this country over the past 30 years. But let's see if indeed that interim solution will take care of this situation of our machine that has been breaking down for many, many years due to, among other things, wear and tear, as you say. But hopefully this matter will be resolved once and for all so that we don't have one machine holding the entire country to ransom. Department of Transport spokesperson Colin Msibi, you heard his advice, and his advice is you do as they're asking you to do, or you will face the full might of the law. You don't want to be in that position.